that it's always looks the same and whatever, but because I'm kind of a minimalist, like this computer was in the truck with me yesterday, so it's not like I have a permanent thing set up here. Anyways, okay, it is what it is, and I'll let everybody come in here shortly as they're starting to. And good morning to all of you. And what a crazy day yesterday was. Well, not a crazy day. It's, I guess, kind of typical for me lately. But a little bit exciting. And a lot of stuff happened in such a short window. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with all of you today. And okay, now I'm already getting messages like crazy. You know what I got? I just got a message as I'm closing everything down from Mark Petroni showing me a picture of a sky with almost no clouds in it and a palm tree, and he's in Florida, so he's showing me how beautiful it is in Florida right now. So anyways, so yesterday, lots of things happened. I know I haven't been here for a couple of days with all the streams and all that sort of stuff. Just lots of things going on. I actually began my day yesterday in New Hampshire. It was first time being in New Hampshire. There's kind of a regular place. Good morning, Jesse. I'm no DJ. What's up, brother? Megan, Sonia, Keith. Must be nice, yeah, for Mark. Well, you know, I gotta be honest. When I did live down there, and equally when I lived in South America, I used to do the same. I used to, you know, after I'd get home, I'd take. I'm not really a big drinker, but you know, it's warm, it's nice, it's sunny. I'd take like half a glass of wine, and I'd go down to the pool. And I'd dip my feet in the pool in the middle of January. And I'd call people in Canada and complain about the heat. So it is what it is. I guess I'm getting my up and comings and what I deserve. So by the way, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll get into it now. So yesterday started my day in New Hampshire, as one of the people said in the spaces, the great state of New Hampshire. And just doing a back haul. It's to a route that I haven't done before, but I asked them to send me a little bit farther, and today as well, I'm going to be going a little bit far as well. And it was really interesting. In the middle of a switch, meaning dropping one trailer, picking up another, and heading back, there was a regular Twitter space that I go into called Cafe Bitcoin. And again, I'm easing into Bitcoin with some of you who are curious, and the rest of you who aren't hopefully won't get too annoyed because I'm just getting little dribs and drabs here and there. But anyways, I went into Cafe Bitcoin was live, so I went in, and Robert Breedlove was the guest on Cafe Bitcoin. Who is Robert Breedlove? Robert Breedlove, I describe him as kind of the Jordan Peterson of the Bitcoin space, if that helps. I don't know that's entirely accurate, but that's kind of a good way of framing who he is. So Breedlove was on, and a little story, interesting, when I spoke at the Bitcoin conference after the Convoy, it was in April, I think it was, in Miami, I got a call from Greg Foss. Greg Foss is a Canadian. He's an investment guy, and he's traditional investments, but's gone over into Bitcoin as well. He's one of the people in the investment space who now kind of understands and advocates for Bitcoin. And so he calls me up. I think it was the day after. It was the night after, the night that I finished my panel. I get a call from Foss, and he's like, "Hey, BJ, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I said, yeah, I'm, down at the beach, and because I couldn't really go very far because my ankle was broken and I was hobbling around on crutches. And he said, "What are you doing tonight?" I haven't, and I said to him, "I'm not sure." He says, 2 tickets, Fontainebleau Hotel. I want you to get up there for 6:30. This is the name of the room. and I'm going to see you tonight, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll come. So 6:30, show up at the Fontainebleau, and took forever to find this. And remember, I'm hobbling around. It's like the far end of the complex. So I finally get the story of my life in Miami. That happened every time. And so I get to the back room, and there's Foss is there, and he's like, hey, BJ, what's up? Gives me a hug, shakes my hand, and gives me a couple of tickets with the person I was with. And I walk into the room, and what do I see? JP Sears, who some of you may know his YouTube channel, Awakening with JP, was doing, I don't know, ended up being an hour-long segment or whatever. He had just started maybe 5 or 10 minutes into it, and it was absolutely hysterical. And then after JP leaves the speech, and this was it was a private event. It was really small. It was, I don't know, 50, 100 people. Like, it wasn't too many people at all. JP Sears leaves the stage, and then the next people who come up were Robert Breedlove and Jordan Peterson, and having just a conversation over a couple of hours on money, self-sovereignty, freedom, all bunch of stuff, and it was great. It was great. So yesterday, Breedlove was on stage with Cafe Bitcoin. Spoke to him for, I don't know. It was toward the end. Just asked him a quick question, and I think we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking sometime soon. Anyways, that's one of the interviews I have coming up in the near future. So I will share that with all of you. So that's how my day started. And, of course, I go into the Twitter space, and I'm at the back hall. I logged in. I'm driving towards the back hall, and I'm like, okay, please don't pull me on stage when I'm in the middle of, switching trailers, unhooking, cranking, unhooking the glad hands, moving the truck, next truck over, glad hands, crank back up, move out, whatever. And, of course, that's exactly when they called me on stage. So if you listen to Cafe Bitcoin yesterday and I seemed like I was out of breath, there was there was a reason for that. Jesse says something about I'm trying Bitcoin slowly. I don't have the cash for fast, and I need to understand in a lower level. You can just play with $20, $50 at a time. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. You can buy as little quantities. That's what I did. I bought $50, transferred it from one wallet to another just to kind of try to get my head around how it works. Similar to the way, and I gave this analogy in the past, similar to the way my parents needed to wrap their head around how an ATM worked in the early 80s. It's the same sort of thing. So don't rush it. You'll figure it out eventually, and I'm here to help you if you need it, Jesse. Anyways, so that was that. So then on my way back, I was maybe 4 hours later, 4 hours later, I was in rural New York State in an area called the Mohawk Valley, which is a very big part of New York State, in their Welcome Center, which I guess it's not quite just on the border of Massachusetts, but it's kind of close to it. And I pull into the Welcome Center, which I do, infrequently from time to time. It's one of the nicer spots in the summer. It's gorgeous. And I took a little video and I posted it. So what I'm going to do, instead of rehashing all of that, I'm going to repost, I'm going to replay that video now for all of you, and then I'll discuss it and why. Stephanie, hi from Ontario. Well, hello from Ontario. Stephanie, Ontario from now, later on, soon to be Connecticut, I think. I'm either staying in Connecticut or Massachusetts tonight. I'm not sure. I'll know in a couple of hours. Good morning, Bridget. Jesse, that's what I'm doing. Best tip you'll ever get on Bitcoin. Dollar cost average. The beauty of Bitcoin, you can buy a little bit at a time, a tiny bit here and there. Good morning, Cheryl. And Cheryl, thank you for the wonderful comments yesterday. I did see them, and it's very sweet of you. Okay, let me get on to this, and I'm going to explain this in a second, and don't mind my kind of, Now it's not working. Open system. Ecamm needs permission to capture. I don't want to capture the screen. Oh, wait. Hold on. I got to do a... okay, yeah, there we go. I think we're... Tell me if you can see this. Can you see this? No? Can you see me? No, you can only see... Damn it. Oh. Wait. Current application. Okay. Can you see this? Can you see my Safari? I know this is very exciting for all of you who are on locals, but this is kind of the tech support issues that happen when... Hold on. It's just going to save me a lot of time if I play this versus... hold on one second. You all talk amongst yourselves. Where we go? Oh my God! You know what's gonna do me in and cause me to go postal is autocorrect when it autocorrects to the wrong thing, which constantly happens with my name. Okay, it looks like you can. Can you see it? It looks like you can. I'm going to give this a second here and see if this is working. Oh, look, I see the chat on my phone as well. All right, guys. So I will... Wait, it's not working. It's not working. All right. Well, I'm going to have to... oh, Safari. There we go. Okay. And can you let me know in the comments if you can see this? And everybody on locals, you're going to hear it in a second when I play it. Oh, there's no permissions. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to play the audio for you. Well, that doesn't work either. That's not really good. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's, 1 second. All right, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. All right, so the essence of what I did anyways is, let me just go back to here, and can I do that? Oh, wait, open, here we go. Open systems preferences, fine, which aren't opening. And what? Oh, here we go. Privacy, allow applications below, no items. Okay, forget it. Just when you always, this is why, people ask me about why I don't do different things when I'm streaming, because anytime you add any layer of complexity, just the smallest thing in the world, everything collapses, everything stops working, and now an application needs, okay. So, essence, what I was trying to say, trying to communicate yesterday, I was on the road, was there's a lot of people, there's been a lot of chatter over the past few weeks on the interweb. Hey, Greg, what's up, brother? My pleasure. Greg runs mass adoption in just outside of Boston in Massachusetts, and they invited me down there with Jason Lowry, and I talked about that in a previous stream. Thanks for being here, brother. So I did the stream yesterday from the Mohawk Valley in New York, basically trying to explain to people that I know there's all this chatter about it's the 1-year anniversary of the Freedom Convoy. Well, it's a 1-year anniversary of a bunch of things. Of us arriving in Ottawa, of the protest itself, of the EMA, of the police violently cracking down on the most peaceful protest in Canadian history, a whole bunch of things. And I hear all these different dates of people wanting to, it was initially a convoy, a certain individual who doesn't seem to use his brain cells very well. There was a convoy, and I tried to encourage people not to participate in that, and luckily that was subsided. And now there are people talking about, well, we need to have a reunion, we need to go to Ottawa, and we need to do it on so many different dates I've heard. As I said in the video, I've heard maybe 20 different dates from many different people. And the essence of what I was trying to explain is this is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Leave Ottawa. Ottawa should be a ghost town because you're in a propaganda war. We are all in a propaganda war with our government. And all our government wants us to do is take the bait because Trudeau and the political establishment are desperate for a boogeyman. They've been trying to entrap many of you, into having protests, convoys, whatever, since the convoy, leading up to the commission, before the commission, after the commission. They keep doing this because they're desperate for a boogeyman. And I know what people are saying to me, oh, no, we're just going to go there and we're just going to have one day and whatever. And like, I get that. Again, this is a PR war. It's a propaganda war. It's not about facts. It's about how they will spin whatever B-roll footage they get. And if you get a large group of people, Freedom Convoy, F Trudeau flags, whatever, showing up in Ottawa around the time of the convoy, all that does is give the necessary footage, the intellectual property that the fake news media needs to smear all of you and destroy all of your reputations. And might I remind you, there is also a class action suit of which, I don't know, what is it, 400, 500, 3 billion people are now named in this class action suit? Like, why do you want to help them? All this does is help the people who are trying to smear you. And I've suggested what would be the best way to do it is to celebrate the day that the EMA, the Emergency Measures Act, was invoked, the Day of Love, Valentine's Day. And I've had people push back, oh, well, that's, technically we arrived and whatever. I'm like, listen, invoking Canada's equivalent of martial law on Valentine's Day should be a public relations disaster for any government in the world. And that's what you want to exploit. That's what you want to show, is that Canadians came together and were loving each other and shouting peace and love and unity and freedom and telling the police that we loved each other and everybody loved each other. Hubby-dubby was great. That's what we were doing on Valentine's Day last year, showing more love than Canada has ever had, while the Trudeau regime, the blackface regime, became violent and oppressive, or should I say invoked martial law and laid the foundation to turn Canada into a banana republic and ultimately turn violent and oppress those very people. That is a PR disaster for a government, and that's what you should be working on. So how do you celebrate that? What do you do? In my opinion, especially in rural communities, this is where it's going to be so much stronger and more impactful because it has such more of an influence on the community. You go to your city square, your town square, town hall, whatever it is, community center, and you bring 5, 10, 15, 20 trucks, and you have a barbecue, and you celebrate Freedom Convoy and Valentine's Day. That Freedom Convoy celebrated peace and love, and we're going to celebrate Freedom Convoy on the Day of Love. Oh, and by the way, Prime Minister Blackface, the most racist person to hold office in Canadian history, yeah, he went full Fidel Castro. You make with that as you want. The memes write themselves, right? That is the messaging opportunity that we all have. Now, listen, I'm not going to tell anybody what you can and cannot or should not do. I'm just offering suggestions and a reminder that you are in the middle of a PR war with your government, which is crazy in the Western world, but it is what it is. And this is a long process. This is going to go on for years. This is not, we're going to celebrate what we do on Valentine's Day or whatever day you celebrate and then it's over. No, that's just another step. And what an impactful message could it be that this started to become a tradition in Canada where rural communities and some city communities as well got together and started to make Valentine's Day a tradition of celebrating love, but also celebrating the love and peaceful message of the largest, most peaceful protest and largest convoy in human history, the Freedom Convoy in Canada. That by de facto, Valentine's Day starts to become dual celebrations every year. Valentine's Day and freedom and the Freedom Convoy, right? Like the messaging opportunity from a PR perspective is it's the type of thing that only happens once in a very, very blue moon. And maybe that's why people struggle to understand why it's so advantageous from a messaging strategy. So that's what I suggest, right? Again, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. It's not my place. I'm just kind of giving PR advice for all of you. It would be a great day to do Valentine's Day cards with pictures of the horse trampling Candace and the other guy, and Happy Valentine's Day from Justin Blackface Trudeau. Like, you could have so much fun with this. And just, it can be an epic troll of our incompetent, dangerously incompetent political class. So I hope people consider that. And I'm here if anybody wants to reach out, any ideas. I know right now it's a little difficult to get a hold of me because so many people are trying to get a hold of me constantly. I'm doing my best to respond to everybody, but just please consider that. Please. It's very important. I think at least there's no convoy going to Ottawa, which is great. That's a good start. And but I don't know. I think there's so much that you can do. And there's also, I know some people, people that I'm aligned with, friends with mine, and this is kind of like everybody's got a different opinion. I get it. They want to celebrate, the 28th. Some want to celebrate the 29th because the 29th was the official day, but then the first people came on the 28th. It's all sloppy from a messaging standpoint, from a branding standpoint. It's just, it's too, not sloppy, but it's too disconjointed, right? But Valentine's Day is so perfect that Canada's equivalent of martial law was imposed on the Day of Love. And Freedom Convoy needs to exploit that, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to do my best to help with that. And I don't know where I'll be yet on that day. I haven't really decided because there's a lot of things going on right now. But it is what it is. Oliver, good morning from Kingston, Ontario. Good morning, brother. Glad to have you here. The interview with Justin when he went off the rails shows what he is thinking. He has no independent thought. You're right. Yeah, he's just a puppet. He's a Muppet. The Muppets are more on the other side, the people who are supposed to be freedom fighters who smear all of us, who sacrificed so much. But, whatever. There's other people in life who sacrifice much more than we have. But, it is what it is. So anyways, I did that message from the Mohawk Valley, and Jordan Peterson was kind enough, because Jordan follows me on Twitter, he was kind enough to retweet that video as kind of a suggestion to everybody that cooler heads need to prevail, and let's not take the bait. That's very important. I'm going to talk a little bit about that more over the next week or couple of weeks. Just do not take the bait, please. I was begging people during the convoy in messaging not to take the bait, and I'm begging you here too. Please do not take the bait. A lot of people don't understand, and they didn't understand in the commission either, the extensive background I have in messaging and PR. It's a lot more extensive than I lead on, and just you gotta just believe in me in this thing. This is important. It was my strategy that we used from a media perspective to make the convoy, to get as much attention on the convoy around the world, and it went pretty well. I think it was pretty significant and successful. You can trust me on this as well, okay? Anyways, Tom, 100% cooler heads prevail. And, that's also a message of positivity that, the government, they're a bunch of, Trudeau and them, they're a bunch of oppressive D-bags. But we're not going to let that infringe on our ability to unify with each other, with those, even when we disagree with each other, we're still going to come together in our local city, town, square, whatever it is, and we're going to still celebrate loving each other and being Canadian, and not allow the noise of the corrupt political class to disrupt that, right? That we are going to stick together no matter what. And so that's my suggestion. All right, over on locals. Oh, so many. You're getting audio. Okay, locals, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Beth, it was a good video. Insta only post a short caption, so I opened TikTok from my search engine to watch the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's because, look, I'm not a big Instagram, TikTok person anyways, to be entirely honest. I like more long form, more, how do you say, academic type stuff. So Instagram was just kind of like an extra thing that I started doing. TikTok because there's so many people, the Muppets, that were exploiting TikTok to try to destroy my reputation and other people. I just had no choice to finally go back on TikTok and Facebook so people can hear me and in my full context. And not just myself, but others who were involved in the Freedom Convoy behind the scenes. Elena Albert, good morning. Lisa, JT knows the end is near. Yeah, he's a lame duck. He's a lame duck, what's it called? Prime Minister at this point, so he has zero political capital. It's patently obvious to me that Justin Trudeau is following the same script as Dems is, divide and conquer, and he is intimately involved in the WF and the Biden agenda. They don't want us unified. They want a civil war. How influential is Gerald Butts? There's only one thing I would add to that, David. And thanks for being here again, brother. I appreciate it. It's not just Justin Trudeau, the Liberal parties and Justin Trudeau who do divide and conquer. The Conservatives do the same thing. That's exactly what they did during the Freedom Convoy. That's what I was crowing about during the commission, but I was very limited in terms of what I was allowed to say. Like, if the commission was me allowing me just to sit down for a couple of hours and explain, hey, this is everything that went on, it would have been a lot worse. That's why it is so controlled. But don't think it's just the Liberals that, and this is part of the liberal conservative thing. Like, remember something. This is very important. The strategy firm that is one of the strategy firms that is subcontracted to by the Conservative Party. I mentioned this in a previous stream, and I think in a Twitter space actually recently as well with some Americans. Our political class farms out all their policies, and that's why they just get talking points and they just regurgitate their talking points. That's how it operates. There's not really much independent thought amongst any of them, right? So it's the one of the strategic firms that the Conservative Party uses, that farms out to, was co-founded by Katie Telford. Who's Katie Telford? Justin Trudeau's chief of staff. So if you're wondering why it's a uniparty, that might have something to do with it, right? Like, that might have a little... There's so much more I know on this topic, I gotta be honest. And it's really quite gross. So don't allow them, and this is my whole mantra, don't allow them to do the divide, conquer, conservative versus liberal, whatever. Like, yeah, okay, we're all different. We all have, those of us who are conservative, we all have liberals in our family who, yeah, we think their political views a little bit, some more progressive, that they're a little bit whatever, but, they're still family. And it's very, very important that we try to our best to have people in our social circles, amongst our friends, who have differing political worldviews. So that's how you fight against the divide and conquer, is we don't go into the echo chamber and only listen to people who agree with us. I personally learn more from people who I disagree with. And that's why much of what I listen to, read, whatever, is from people who I don't necessarily agree with. But it kind of exercises my brain. By the way, David, I'm currently researching the Declaration of North America signed by Trudeau, Biden, and the President of Mexico, AMLO. I was in Mexico when AMLO was elected, actually. And, okay, I don't know anything about it. I've been so busy with other stuff, so I don't really know what's going on. But anyways, Mexico is a whole other issue. And for those of you who don't know, Megan Murphy, who's really on the opposite end, or was on the opposite end of the political spectrum on many things, and still is on some issues, she was a socialist. She grew up in a socialist household, Canadian. And it was the mandates that really woke her up. Well, first it was being deplatformed from Twitter, from what I understand. And that's when she got on Joe Rogan the first time, because somebody on the that side of the spectrum had their speech infringed upon, and then realized, oh, maybe this is it forced them to re-examine her worldviews, which I think is healthy for all of us to do. And so Megan, when the mandates came out, she just had enough, and she moved to Mexico, and she now lives in Mexico permanently. And for those of you who don't know, Mexico is a beautiful place. It really is. Candice Bergen proved that with her messaging about making out point, now go home. Yeah, that was exactly perfect. When Candice Bergen came out, I mean, she tried to do it with us, right? She had her people message us, and me and Tamara talked about it. And Tamara was kind of, yeah, maybe we should meet with them. And I was the one who was like, no, we're not. They're baiting us. They're going to try to take a photo op with a bunch of truckers around them, and myself and Tamara next to Candice. And so Candice can say, the Conservative Party has heard you, now go home. And we would have been screwed. And she tried that, and then Candice did that when she came out of Parliament the next day in a media scrum, and didn't go well. It didn't go so well for them, did it? Anyways, okay. The other thing happened yesterday. I got to cut today short a little bit because I'm going to be late because I got a long destination. In the Toronto Sun, Tarek Fatah wrote an article, Honking for Freedom 1 year later. And I want to thank Tarek Fatah personally for writing that essentially a review, a quasi-review of this book, Honking for Freedom. And thank you, Tarek, for talking about it and talking about the issue and the truckers. And I think he was very fair. And there you go. There's another person who on some issues we agree, and on other issues on the complete opposite end of the political spectrum. But it just goes to show it's healthy to have friends who have differing political worldviews from you, because, well, then what happens? You know what? They come to bat for you. And they say, I don't care what the corrupt establishment says. I'm going to write about this because this is important, and I'm not part of that little echo chamber, so I can say what I want. So it's important to have friends across the board. And I'm very, very, I was very touched by Tarek Fatah for posting that article in the Toronto Sun and retweeting it. I think it's in today's paper, if I'm not mistaken. It was uploaded last night. So check it out. And I don't know if they put the website on there, but if you know anybody to recommend it, honkingforfreedom.com, that's where you get the book. And many of you know that already, but just a reminder. David R.E. signed January 10th, 2023. Okay, yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I'll try to get caught up on it today. But I have no idea who Ezra Miller, I don't know who that is. Oh my God, did you see the email that was sent to Tamara before the convoy? Oh my God, did you see the email that was sent to Tamara before the convoy that gave talking points, and then Pierre said exactly the same things? Well, yes, because there was another recipient of that email, and that was yours truly. And in my case, because I was essentially, Tamara was handing any sort of media requests to her. She was handing them off to me. She's giving me the phone number, because we were trying to do division of labor. If you're in aviation, cockpit resource management, trying to kind of, everybody focuses on their area so it's not complete chaos. And so Russ called me. I had numerous telephone conversations with me as well. And Russ described himself as a staffer, not a former MP. And I'll talk more about that later on another time because it's an interesting article. Check it out. It's on Diverge Media. But yes, essentially the Conservative Party, in their infinite wisdom, decided, hey, let's get a hold of Dichter and Tamara and let's give them talking points and we'll tell them what to say. And it was... I'll tell you the whole story one time. It's quite funny. But I ended the conversation with telling Russ, That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. No wonder you guys can never win any elections, right? And that's why. So, the incompetence continues. And, they're doing the same thing to Pierre Poilievre. And I hope Pierre finds the strength in himself to push back against this nonsense, or else they're going to cause him a third election in a row. And it's kind of, how many times do you go to bat for these people, right? Hopefully they wise up, and maybe they take some of the advice that I gave them during the convoy that they never listened to. They never ever listen. I've given them so much advice, and they never listen to me. And they always blow it. They always blow it. They always fail to score on an empty net. So whatever. It's almost to the point. It's like, is it intentional? Like, are they intentionally doing it? Like, it's. Anyways. Okay. So Toronto Sun today. The article is "Honking for Freedom 1 year later." Check it out. I've posted it in Locals and retweeted Tarek Fatah. Yesterday, the video that I posted that Jordan Peterson retweeted, you can find it on Twitter and on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, I guess. I haven't posted it yet to Facebook because I got home late and I'm trying to do a million things, but I will get it out there. Please share that video with as many people as possible. It's an important message. I just don't want people to get into trouble, right? Like, I'm trying to prevent anybody from having, just general harassing detainment by the police, which is exactly what will happen in Ottawa. You see the type of police action we saw in that city. And, the opposite of a Fed, right? The Fed wants everybody to get in trouble. I don't want any of you to get into trouble. There's what we did during Freedom Convoy was an amazing moment in Canadian history, which is not going to be realized for several years in the future. So let's not sully that, and let's allow that to grow, because human beings have this wonderful intrinsic nature that as time goes by, when we think back to the past, we actually tend to think with a positive bias, right? All the negativity is always usually reactionary and current. But over time, that's why we're always nostalgic about our childhood and previous times in our lives. Like, people always, high school was great. And I'm like, high school sucked. It was horrible. But when you try to think back to it, you think about all the wonderful things that happen. So we are, by nature, we tend to bias towards positivity. So let's allow that trait of human nature to work in our favor, and that let's not allow that to be replaced by some B-roll footage and a smear campaign by the fake news media 1 year after, while everybody else in Canada is starting to wake up. They're starting to read stories like this. I know this has changed the minds of a few people, liberals already. Let's allow that to work for us, and let's not disrupt that. What do you think about Danielle Smith? I've met her before. She had one of my podcasters on her program when we were out west. I'll talk about that another day. NDPs are liberals are using the same PR stuff. It looks like they all use the same PR stuff. They all go to the same firms. Like, it's all like, it's just cookie cutter plastic politics is what I call it. Will the Toronto Sun article appear in print? Tom says, yes, it should be in today's paper. So if you get a copy of today's paper, I'm told it's in that one. Jesse, I love Danielle Smith. Great. Ben, I tagged you in a newer post in Twitter. You have to see it. Okay, I'll check it out when I head out. I'm going to have to run now. I get my bag packed. I got to get over to my truck and get down to Connecticut, and I got a really busy day. I would be in Alberta if I could afford to move. Listen, I've lived all over. I've lived in first world countries, third world countries, you name it. Your life is wherever you live it, right? If you can maintain a positive frame where you live here, where you live today, then that positive frame is transferable to anywhere in the world. But if you're struggling with certain, issues in your life in general, if you're struggling here, those issues will appear anywhere you live. That's what I've learned. And so just a suggestion. That's why I always try to focus on positivity and inner strength and inner positivity and not allowing the noise of life to really disrupt you and to really bother you. Because if you can find that sort of inner peace, it doesn't matter where you are, you'll be happy. We have thought the same, Jesse. Okay, yeah. All right, we got 2 girls moving to Alberta now. You're awesome. Okay, I have to run. I know it's a little bit short, but thank you all for everything you've done for me. I greatly appreciate it, the sharing, the liking, the reposting. If you can, please repost the video from yesterday to get in front of the eyes of and ears of as many people as possible. And I want people to be safe. I want everything to work out, and I don't want to give any additional ammunition to the government to spin it, the government and the media. Well, what's the difference? To spin it against the Freedom Convoy, because that's exactly what they'll do if anybody is in Ottawa. So that's just my suggestion. Greg, safe travels. Thank you, brother. I can't wait to see you. I can't tell you how upset I am that I missed the steak dinner, but next time you have one, I will be down there. I greatly appreciate it. And shout out to everybody at Mass Adoption in Massachusetts. And by the way, they're working on, I don't know if I can say this, don't yell at me if I can't, a big music festival for some time in the summer. So I'm going to be talking to them. Maybe I can help out a little bit in some way with messaging or be there or whatever it's going to be. Just with the note that in the beginning of June, I'm going to be a keynote speaker at Bitcoin Canada or Bitcoin Toronto. I don't know how they branded it, which is going to be the first really big Bitcoin conference in Canada this year. So if you are in Canada, come to Bitcoin Canada. I'm going to be signing books. I'm going to be giving a talk. And I want to meet as many of you as possible. And that's going to be in June, which is a beautiful time of the year. Aliza, have a great day. David, cheers. Everybody, have an awesome day. Be good to people. It's going to make you feel better, especially when you brighten up the day of some stranger who works in the gas station or whatever. It's a little trick I do, and because your subconscious is always watching. And if your subconscious sees you being kind to strangers, you'll be surprised how much confidence that builds in yourself. So, all right, I love you guys. I got to run. I'm going to talk to you soon.